In 1910, an estimated 20,000 children were working as breaker boys in horrific conditions. These haunting photographs were captured by National Child Labor Committee investigators, whose personal notes you'll hear as voiceovers throughout this video. They tell a story that helped change the course of American history and end an era of child labor for thousands of children. This is some of their stories.
Frank, 14, has worked in the mine helping father pick and load for 3 years. Was in hospital 1 year when leg had been crushed by coal car. Drivers and trappers going home. Fairmont, West Virginia. Harley Bruce, a young coupling boy. He appears to be 12 or 14 years old and says he has been working there about a year. It is hard work and dangerous. There are not many young boys employed in or about the mines of this region of Jellicoe, Tennessee. Neil Gallagher, born in 1891, started working in coal breaking at age 9, moved to underground work at age 11 as a door tender, earning 83 cents a day. In 1904, his leg got crushed between cars. Amputated at Mercy Hospital, was riding between cars, and we aren't supposed to ride between them. Currently works as a breaker for $1.10 a day. Father living, mother dead. A boy, maybe over 14, at heavy work, shoveling ore at Daisy Bell Mine in Aurora, Missouri. 15-year-old Vance works as a trapper boy, earning 75 cents for a 10-hour day. His sole task is operating a door, spending most of his time waiting idly for passing cars. On account of the intense darkness in the mine, the writing on the door were not visible until plate was developed. Willie Brighton, a nipper, waiting all alone in the dark for a trip to come through. It was so damp that Willie said he had to be doctoring all the time for his cough. A short distance from here, the gas was pouring into the mine so rapidly that it made a great torch when the foreman lit it. Willie had been working here for 4 months, 500 feet down the shaft and a quarter of a mile underground from there. Boy running trip rope at Tipple, overgrown but looked 13 years old, worked 10 hours a day. Young boy carrying armful of steel rods, also known as spragging irons, along the elevated track at the Bessie Mine in Alabama. These are all breaker boys. They were very suspicious of my motives. Sam Bellum, been working as a breaker for 2 years, he says. He also says that he is 14 years old, but does not appear to be. Sam Topant, been working for 2 years, said, I am 14 years, and if you don't believe me, I can show you the proofs. James Ritz, been working 1 year as a breaker. He said, 14 years old, but this is unbelievable. Mikey Captain, been working 1 year as a breaker, said he was 12 years old. Tony Captain, been working as a breaker for 1 year. Angelo Ross, a youngster who has been working in as a breaker for 4 months, said he was 13 years old, but very doubtful. He has a brother, Tony, probably under 14, also working in the mine. Bank boss in center, driver on his right, trapper boy outside. Alfred, about 14. He trapped several years during vacation, said he is going to school this year. Asked if it were because School is more fun, he said. This year ain't no fun. Shorpy Higginbotham, a greaser on the tipple at Bessie Mine, Alabama, said he was 14 years old, but it is doubtful. Carries 2 heavy pails of grease and is often in danger of being run over by the coal cars. Trapper boy in Center, going to work at 7 a.m. and will be underground until 5:30 p.m. Trappers are paid $1 a day. Hard work and dangerous for such a young boy. James Odell, a greaser and coupler on the tipple of the Cross Mountain Mine, Tennessee. James has been there 4 months. Helps push these heavily loaded cars. Appears to be about 12 or 13 years old. Basil Roberts and James Hopper, both 12 years old, go to school when in session and work Saturdays and holidays, culling waste from the zinc ore on the dumps. Their fathers work in zinc mines nearby. These boys told me no boys were permitted to work down in the mines and said they were the only boys who worked here. Arlie Fankins, shovels in Barnesville Mine, says he is 14 years old, but I doubt it, has a father and 2 brothers in the mine. Dave, a young pusher at the Bessie Mine in Alabama. All work in Ewan Breaker, Pennsylvania Coal Company. Philip Corrado has been working in Breaker for 6 months. Said he was 12 years old, but doesn't appear to be that. Told the school principal the other day he was 13 years old. Joe Tabone, been working 3 years in Ewan Breaker, said 14 years old but doesn't appear to be. Charlie Booth said he was 12 years old, couldn't spell his own name and didn't know name of street he lives on. Seems to be under 12 years old. All were suspicious of me sending them to school. These young boys work around and on these coal cars, loaded and empty, while they are running at full speed. It is dangerous. One of these boys said, "I got my leg jammed a while ago and was laid up a week." A view of the Pennsylvania Breaker. The dust was so dense at times as to obscure the view. This dust penetrates the utmost recesses of the boys' lungs. A kind of slave driver sometimes stands over the boys, prodding or kicking them into obedience. Trapper boy, simply called Son, opens and closes door that controls ventilation. He is underground from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. He has been trapping for several years. First aid to the injured, man equipped with Draeger oxygen helmet. The need for and the presence of these rescue outfits is a strong argument against the employment of young boys. Group of breaker boys. Smallest is Sam Baloma, pictured earlier. Jim McNulty is a leader inside the mine at Leadville Shaft. Said he was 15 years old. 4 breaker boys working in Hughestown Borough. Boy on left is Tony Ross. Other small boy is Mike Ross, his cousin. Frank, whose legs were cut off by a motor car in a coal mine in West Virginia when he was 14 years of age. Entrance to a drift coal mine. The live wire was only shoulder high in places inside and unprotected.